Welcome to part 3 of the Bitesize housing series, the future of the minimum energy efficiency standards. The timelines show that the government has been gradually introducing higher standards for energy performance in privately rented properties. These properties have been the worst performing for energy efficiency of all housing tenures, behind social and owner-occupier housing. Targets and enforcement were seen as a necessary instrument to raise standards. As of May 2022, the MEES Band C proposals are still passing through the legislation processes. The proposals have already received consultation and are likely to pass into primary legislation largely unchanged. These are requirement for a Band C EPC for new tenancies from 2025 and all existing tenancies from 2028, a minimum spend requirement of £10,000 per property in order to meet the MEES requirements, and fines of up to £30,000 for non-compliance. Previous incentives for energy efficiency improvements were available to landlords, such as the Landlord's Energy Saving Allowance tax relief scheme, but these had a very low uptake and around only 2% of landlords accessed it, so it was discontinued. For several years, from 2008 to 2013, grants were available for all owner-occupiers and private tenants to obtain free cavity and loft insulation, and this still failed to raise standards sufficiently. The government phased out financial assistance for the lowest performing rental properties, including preventing landlords with F&G rated properties from accessing utility company funding for most improvements under the Energy Company Obligation Scheme. It is likely that E-rated properties will also soon be ineligible for funding under ECO, and any funding will be subject to a higher landlord cost contribution, typically 25 to 33% and above. The policy changes and incentives to date have followed a carrot first, stick second approach. If we are to meet our net zero targets, then arguably providing long-term comprehensive financial incentives to all tenures may be the better approach for us all. There are many policy objectives driving these changes, not least the Clean Growth Strategy, which states, we will look at a long-term trajectory for the energy performance standards across the private rented sector, with the aim of as many private rented homes as possible being upgraded to EPC Band C by 2030, where practical, cost-effective and affordable. The wording here is key, as are the limitations as to what might be possible in the light of planning permission, listed building consent, conservation area requirements, as well as the practicalities of property, location and cost in relation to certain improvements and technologies. Examples of this might be where external wall insulation is not permitted on a solid wall constructed property, or where the cost of installing a heat pump exceeds £10,000. However, landlords should not be complacent. The direction of travel clearly shows what the government policy is driving towards: good quality, safe, well-maintained, energy-efficient housing with a high EPC rating. With unprecedented increases in fuel prices, climate change targets and a drive for higher housing standards, we could see more stringent targets in the future. Will older properties become too expensive to improve, or for tenants to heat affordably? If tenants can't afford the heating and hot water costs, then it certainly limits the appeal of the property. Will an overhaul of the planning system be required? You can improve your F&G rated property by using our Energy Rating Improver tool to obtain recommendations. Watch our other Bitesize Housing Series videos to learn more about the minimum energy efficiency standards, what you need to do, and how you can go about it, with advice and guidance from local housing and energy efficiency professionals. Contact us if you need any further advice or assistance, and we'll be happy to help.